Hey, Ron here, and I know it's been a long time since I made a video about the R6, but they recently came out with a new firmware update for the EOS R6 that's supposed to improve the in-body stabilization for your wide-angle lenses. So, what better way to test this out than the handheld camera on a boat taking a picture of moving subjects. South channel range lights, but also the common turns. So this is pre-firmware update without the 1.6 update. Handheld, standing on a boat. Talk about needing IBIS. Yeah, so these range lights haven't been in commission for over a century, but there was a time that they were key. Anyway, yeah, so this is handheld on a boat. I don't know what kind of image stabilization it's getting before the firmware update, but it looks pretty good in my screen here. So, in case you're wondering, these birds are called common terns, but don't let their name fool you. They're not common. They're an endangered bird, so it's kind of hampered the SOSCL group from making progress on this particular light foundation, because these birds have kind of taken over the island. All right, so this is one trip around pre-firmware update. Now let's check it out after the firmware update. So here we are post-firmware update with this EOS R6. Again, standing on the boat, holding the camera handheld, getting tossed around pretty good. And I wanted to give it a fair shot, so I'm just trying to hold it as steady as possible. I'm not trying to be moving around a lot, but in a boat, handheld with this EOS R6 with the 1.6 firmware update. Can you see a difference? Is there a difference? I know there's no difference in this behavior of these birds. They're a bit cranky that we're over here, but the island does not belong to you. If you want to learn more about these lighthouses, I actually did a documentary, but I recommend that you check out the SOSCL group. I know they have a Facebook page. I think they have a website. But these lighthouses are a big part of our history here in Macomb County and actually Southeast Michigan. So, but again, this is what the camera looks handheld with the image stabilization improvements that were brought forward with the firmware 1.6. So, they did a pretty good paint job. They recently painted that structure there. From what I understand, they're planning on fixing the fence here next. But again, their hands have been a little bit tied because these common terns have taken up residency here at this particular lighthouse island. So, could you tell a difference between pre-firmware and post-firmware? What do you think? This again is the wide angle, the 14mm 2.8 Samyang, and if you're not a fan of that huge price for the Canon lens, the wide angle lens, hey, shut up. I highly recommend the Samyang 14mm 2.8. Big fan of this wide angle, does the job just nice. But again, the firmware update was supposed to really help as far as the wide angle. So here we are with the wide angle 14mm 2.8 as the birds, the common terns yell at me. Can you tell a difference? Does it look better the second time around? I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something. Did it make a difference? Did the firmware make a difference? You tell me. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching this content. And you know, it did say it was gonna fix other minor issues. And I know in the past with firmware updates, they have gone ahead and improved the overheating when you're recording in 4K for interviews. So we'll do those tests maybe in future episodes, but that's what it looks like. That's the difference you get between pre-firmware update and post-firmware update. So I hope this video was informative for you. I hope you learned something. If you did, go ahead and hit that like icon, share it with your friends. And of course, you can check out more of my videos at my website, RonRobinsonStudios.com. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. I'm recording Alex, recording me.